Corrections. We have the warden for the Parnell Correctional Facility, Noah Nagy, and the Charles Egeler Reception and Guidance Center warden, Troy Chrisman. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bart. Appreciate us having us.
Yeah, welcome back to Noah, and it's Troy's first time on the show. But we got to meet a couple weeks ago. We were all on a focus group at the hospital, and I learned a lot. You guys are really, there's quite a partnership between MDOC and Henry Ford.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, being in the Jackson area, we've worked closely with Henry Ford for a long time. Henry Ford does a great job, and certainly appreciate all their efforts with us. Troy works at R&GC real close with them now. When I was at the Cotton facility, I worked with them very closely, not so much at Parnell, but you know, Troy with the secure unit down there that we talked about at the focus group. His team does a great job working with Henry Ford, and you know, Henry Ford's been a great partner in the community, as you're aware, for a very long time. So,
well, we've learned a lot over the years about Parnell through you and the Charles Egeler Reception and Guidance Center. It sounds different than a correctional facility, is it?
It's a little different. So our Charles Egeler Reception Guidance Center, or also known as R&GC in the area, we're an intake facility for the entire state. So anybody that's in the county awaiting a prison sentence, and once they go to court and they're issued their prison sentence, within a couple days they're transported from the county to our facility. And then at that time they come to our facility, they get screened by mental health, healthcare, education, classification. We put all that stuff together, and then at the end, when the classification, it's a 12-day process for them. We send them to a facility that meets their healthcare, mental health needs, or educational needs, or their vocational needs. We'll send them to SMT for additional vocational training for their programs, and we set them up to be successful later down the road when they get released.
Well, the name, it sounds, you know, resort-like, you know.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's not a resort, but we're considered a maximum security level facility because we don't know, you know, when the offenders get there from the county, we take a gauge on their behavior. So we get anybody from, you know, their multiple offense drunk driving to people that are convicted of murder. And then we sort them out and get their security levels where they need to be and send them where they need to be. We also, at our facility, we have Dwayne Waters Health Center, which is essentially kind of a hospital setting, infirmary setting for offenders throughout the state to come to our facility. We take anybody from surgical patients that are recovering from surgery. They need physical therapy for a long period of time. We also have dementia patients there that we get that can't be housed at regular facilities. We also have a end-of-life care. We have a hospice care program there. We have a program where no offender dies alone. So if an offender comes, he's at his end of life. We have prisoners that are offenders that have job duties. They stay with that offender the whole entire time, 24/7 until that offender passes, and they talk to them. They're there with them to provide companionship and be there for them when they pass.
So let's talk, you know, in general, a first-time offender, they're sentenced, let's say, armed robbery. They've never been there. They go to the reception center. What's the process? Do they actually stay there a while, or do you find
they'll stay at our facility. So, like I said, at least minimum of 12 days till we get them processed and classified. But we try to get them out within 45 days to a regular facility to get them programming, so they can stay there for anywhere from a month to 3 to 4 months.
And so by the time you get them, they've had the introduction to the system.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a short time period, and you know, they've have gone through all the process Troy talked about, and then now we get into the situation where we're going, you know, whatever it is, if it's education, if it's specific programming, if it's a vocational trade, whatever it may be, if it's you know, some mental health treatment, whatever it may be. Now we get into that piece of it and really start hammering in on trying to address whatever needs they may have, so that once they get to the point of being prepared to see the parole board and subsequently out into the community, we've addressed those specific needs that brought them to prison originally.
5 years ago this week, the pandemic, the streets emptied, everyone was in lockdown. Sports ended, really changed life all over the world. And we saw in Jackson the correction system really impacted. And you must have been, as administrators of these facilities, you must have been scared when this first hit and you realized what was happening?
Yeah, I mean, I remember like yesterday. I remember, it was starting to build some steam there early March, and then March 11th. I remember us all getting called to a meeting, saying, "Get your action plan together," even though we don't really know what that entails. Yeah. And March 12th, we're preparing our action plan, and then March 13th, we're all of a sudden taking temperatures as people are coming to work, and temperatures anytime a prisoner went to work, and from that point, forward for several months, it was a non-stop learning process. Developing plans, trying to keep everybody safe. The hard part was you really didn't, and as you remember, we didn't know what we were truly dealing with.
Right.
None of us knew what we were dealing with. I mean, in the communities, we didn't know what to expect. It kept changing. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, all that at the beginning. And, it was a lot of long days, long hours. And, you drive down I-94 to go to work and you'd be the only car on the road. And
that was the only benefit of the pandemic was there was no traffic.
Right.
Well, one of the things I do remember, and which I think is pretty amazing, a lot of the corrections employees either got Airbnbs or hotel rooms so that they could keep their families safe, and that's extraordinary.
Yeah, we had a lot of staff staying in the hotels here in town, and our staff did an amazing job. And there was, and rightfully so, there was always the thank you to our first responders, but never once did you really hear about corrections, and that's we're used to that, and we understand that piece of it. But they did an amazing job. I mean, they worked 16 hours a day.
7 days a week, some days.
They didn't know what they were going into as far as, dealing with COVID originally. And they just did an amazing job, and we couldn't have got through it without any, our staff and the work they did, and the understanding and patience to work through a time period like that. And, now when we recruit, we tell them, doesn't matter what's happening in the world, you're coming to work. If there's a worldwide pandemic, you're coming to work.
You're going to work.
But they did an amazing job, and we're very fortunate.
Yes, definitely part of the first responder heroes that serve our community. And there's always a need. In fact, we're frequently seeing hiring events, hiring fairs, and we've got another one coming up, I think, next week.
Yeah, we have one coming up this Thursday.
This week?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep, this week.
This
Thursday,
week.
March 20th.
Oh, yeah, this week.
From 9 to 5 p.m. at the Charles Egeler Reception and Guidance Center. That's at 3855 Cooper Street. So our hiring events, you come in, we'll do an interview, we'll do a physical fitness test, we'll also fit you for the uniforms at that time, so it's a one-stop shop. You'll get everything done, completed, and then once you pass everything, then your name will go up to our human resources and our recruitment team, and then they'll do the final processing of the hiring and onboarding process.
We've had a chance to hear about Noah's path to where he is in the department. How did you get involved in corrections, and tell me about your path to the administration? Okay,
so I started back in 2005. This is my 20th year with the department. I got hired into Coldwater. Like I said earlier, I'm from the Adrian, Lenawee County area. When they first called me, they offered employment at Gus Harrison, which was in Adrian. So I was excited. That was only a 5-minute drive, and they called me the next day. They're like, "Hey, no, we made a mistake. You got to go to Coldwater." And I never heard of Coldwater, so I had to look at a map. And I was like, "Oh, wait, that's a haul. That's an hour and a half." And they're like, "Hey, if you don't take this, then you're gonna go at the bottom of the list." So I accepted. And I spent a year in Coldwater, Michigan, and then transferred to Gus Harrison Correctional Facility in Adrian, where I spent a majority of my career, about 12 years there, promoted to sergeant there. After 6 months as a sergeant there, I promoted back to Coldwater as a lieutenant, and so I was a lieutenant there for a few years. Then I went to inspector, and Warden Nagy was my warden, came and was our warden after our original warden that I hired in with retired. So I worked under Noah as an inspector, and then Noah left us to come to Jackson, and I don't think it was by choice, but he left, and from there I promoted on to acting assistant deputy warden, then became the deputy warden, and then 2 years ago in April, I came to R&GC in the Jackson area.
Great. Well, it's demonstration there's a a level or a path to advancement for anyone that comes in as a corrections officer.
Yeah, that's what we say all the time. I mean, their opportunity is endless. You know, you get your foot in the door, kind of see what the department offers, and you know, in Troy's case, he promoted up through the custody ranks. You know, I kind of went back and forth between the agents or the administrations and FOA and CFA, and I mean, there's really no right path. It's whatever, you know, takes you to wherever your end game is. And I don't think either one of us sat there at the beginning of our careers thought we'd be sitting in the chairs we are today. Certainly fortunate and been surrounded by great people in our careers.
It seems like each time you're here, I look at the range of pay that's potential for a new hire, and it looks like it goes up every time you're here.
Yeah, right now our starting wage is $22.77, and after I think 3.5 years, we go up to top pay, which is $32.94. With that, if you're assigned a second or third shift, you get a 5% shift differential on second or third shift. If you come and work at R&GC, you get an extra 50 cents an hour being a max facility on top of it after your probationary period. So we're hopeful for this recruiting event. We need a lot of people. We're right now currently down 93 staff members. So our staff need a lot of help. We have some of the greatest and highly trained staff in the state, and they do a phenomenal job with the vacancies that we have. They show up every day and give us 110% every day, and hopefully we can fill some of these vacancies to offer them some relief.
And you've got, I think, the correction academy just graduating or wrapping up, right?
Graduating March 28th, a week from this Friday. So I've got 19 graduating. Coming to the Parnell Correctional Facility. I'm not sure what.
We got 7 graduating to come to our facility. So we had 14 the last time, so 21 in the last few months. So chipping away at our vacancies, and we're continue to chip away, and hopefully and get there and shrink that vacancy rate down.
All right, well, just come on out on Thursday to the Charles Egeler Reception and Guidance Center. That's right there on Cooper, just past the big giant walled prison,
right?
And pull on in, and there will be staff members anxious to show you around and
absolutely
get you into the application process. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us, Bart.
Thank you very much.
The warden at Parnell Correctional Facility, Noah Nagy, and Charles Egeler Reception and Guidance Center warden, Troy Chrisman.